Hello all, welcome to Insights IAS. I am Dr. Ajit Kakde, mentor at Insights IAS. Today we will deal with very important step in the preparation of civil services examination, that is how to choose optional subject for UPSC civil services exam. So basically this discussion will be divided in two parts. In the first part, we will deal with some basics of optional, some criteria to be followed while selecting optional. In second part, we will deal standard procedure to be followed for selecting an optional in UPSC CSE exam, right? So first we will start with importance of optional subject in final selection, right? If you see optional marks, there are around 500 marks, right? So it is very important, these papers, two papers of optionals, and if you follow proper trend of UPSC selected candidates marks, so you will see some difference between broadly you can divide in two parts. First is GS 1, 2 and 3, and then essay plus ethics, that is GS paper 4 and optional. So here in GS 1, 2, 3, you will see very short range of marks, like someone will get around 90 to 100 in GS paper 1. Those I am talking about those who are getting selected. Other will get max 110, at max 120, not more than that. Like difference is only 10, 15, max 20 marks, right? So around 20 marks difference in these three papers, GS 1, 2, 3. But if you see essay paper, GS4 ethics and optional, you will see a lot of variation. In essay itself, you will see around 30 to 40 mark difference. Even in ethics, you will see around 20 to 30 easily, this much difference. In optional again, you will see around 40, 50 mark difference. Usually it is 20 to 30 marks, right? But you will see this also, 40 to 50 mark difference, right? Why? Because there is some variation, there is subjectivity in answers and all, right? So importance of optional is very much in final selection, right? If someone is getting around 250 marks in optional, the chances to get selected comes very down. But if someone is getting around 290 plus mark in optional, the chances of getting selected becomes more, right? Why? Simple, because in GS 1, 2, 3, you will score on an average marks, there will be not much difference. But if you can grab around 40 mark difference in optional itself, your selection will become very possible, right? So second is expectation of UPSC from optional. So if you read the gazette notification properly, that is a notification of UPSC just before prelims exam. So there they have mentioned like optional preparation should be of honors degree level, right? That will be above your graduation and it will be less than post graduation, that is PG or masters, right? So for GS papers, they are expecting your level around graduation, but for optional they want some depth from you. That's why they have mentioned honors degree level, more than graduation and less than masters, right? So you need some kind of depth in optional preparation. That's why it is very important to select optional wisely, right? Then role of graduation. Simply you might have gone through these things. Many people will say if you are medical student, like you go with medical science, someone is from law background, you go with law. So what is the role of graduation? Definitely there is a role of graduation, simply because in your graduation you develop some skills, you get habitual with some kind of technical aspects, attitude, writing skills and all, and that your graduation, if it is technical, you become very much comfortable with technical subjects. If you are from humanities, you become more comfortable with humanities kind of subjects. So it has some role, but it is not the only role, like it is not the only criteria what you should follow while selecting a particular optional. So there is a definite role of graduation, and this technical aspect, if someone is very much technical with respect to his graduation, it becomes very difficult for him to go for humanities or other kind of optionals. Then we'll see again important topic, that is role of interest in subject. Like many will tell, if you are interested then only go for that optional, otherwise don't go for that optional. But my perception with respect to this point is very different. I think role of interest is not much in selecting optional, because it is a kind of exam. You have to prepare, you have to get marks, and you have to go ahead, right? You are not here for masters or making some PhD or something, right? So you're, yeah, definitely interest is important, because if something is completely out of your interest, then it will be very difficult. But it is not necessary to have complete interest in that, right? Sometimes if you have interest in, for example, engineering, that's why you opt for engineering. But it is not wise to go for engineering just because you have interest in engineering. Same thing with respect to other also. Some might have very much interest in psychology. Some might have very much interest in management kind of thing. It doesn't mean like you should go for that blindly, right? Definitely, like, some role is there, but it is not the only criteria you should follow. And most of the people are of the opinion that only if you have interest, go for that optional. But I will tell you, sometimes you go with interest, but after some time giving one mains or two mains, you find like you are not able to score good marks. Then you think of changing the optional, right? So then it becomes very difficult. Optional is like wife, once become wife, it is always wife, that kind of thing. Once you choose optional, it became remains your optional throughout your preparation till you get selected, right? So choosing it wisely is very important. Then again, many people tell like choose optional, which will help you in GS preparation of mains, GS preparation of prelims, right? Again, this is not very important, right? Why? Simply because I can tell you a lot of students who are having some technical kind of optional in UPSC preparation, maybe medical science, maybe engineering, maybe law and other, and still they got very good marks in prelims, they got very good marks in GS 1, 2, 3, right? So it is not much coherent with these things. If you take particular geography, sociology, public administration, PSI will get good marks in prelims or mains GS 1, 2, 3. It is not that much coherent. So don't think much about these things. If you feel this optional is very much convenient for me, I can write better answers in the particular optional, and even if it is not helping you in clearing prelims or mains, that's absolutely fine, right? On the contrary, I can see many people who have geography, who have sociology, who have public administration, who have PSIR, and they are not able to clear prelims. They are not able to get good marks in particularly GS paper 2, GS paper 1, right? So it is not a thumb rule. Moving ahead with the discussion, again many people tell like think about resources available. But again, there is very important thing. If you feel you can do it on your own, then there is no much point of resources. And nowadays, almost all optional have available resources. Resources in the sense we will divide it in mainly 2-3 parts, like classes available. Then we will see mentors available for that. Then test series available for that. Then books, notes, etc. These are 3-4 things in the resources that we can think. Now classes, some optional require a proper guidance for that with respect to classes, but some technical you can manage on your own if you are graduate in that. Then with respect to mentors, you will get a lot of mentors nowadays for even like very small or not so famous optionals also. Then test series available all India level. Then books and notes, again this Telegram and all, internet, websites and all, you will get a lot of books and notes, right? Even toppers notes you can get, right? So resources available is again not very important from my perception. Then next is again slightly important point, that is dynamic versus static. Dynamic versus static in the sense, there are some static kind of options like mathematics, kind of physics, then chemistry. Like if it is 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, it is very static. It will never change, right? But there are some options like say example sociology, say example psychology. There is a lot of subjectivity and answers. If someone is writing the same answer, and other is writing the same answer, there might be some variation in the marks. If I evaluate both copies, I will give different marks. If someone else evaluate the same copy, he might give different marks, right? There is subjectivity. Why there is subjectivity? Because it depends upon your skill to write effective answer, right? But in static part, there is no change in answer, right? So some people are very comfortable in writing static answers. Some people feel more comfortable in writing dynamic, because it is you have a scope to create some innovation, some creativity you can add. You can interlink different topics, you can link thinkers and all. So for some, dynamic part becomes very comfortable for them, right? So judge your personality with respect to that. What kind of personality you are? Some people feel more comfortable if they see like, sir, give us notes, we'll read the notes and we'll write the same in the answer. Some people might not be very good in remembering those things. They think like, sir, I will not be able to remember so many things, particularly for example, if you take example of anthropology, some biological or physical anthropology part. So they feel, sir, it is very difficult for us to remember these technical terms and all. So it will not be easy for us to rewrite the same thing or write effective answer with respect to the static part, right? So again, this is a slightly important point, dynamic versus static. So go through that topic, this optional, and judge whether it is dynamic or static. Next is trend analysis. Again, it is very interesting. Almost everyone will tell you about this trend and all. So we'll go through roughly trend of few optionals. UPSC has declared the mark sheet, number of candidates appeared for the mains, number of candidates selected in the final list for 2017. So we'll go through it. So first we'll see, this is Bodo literature. Like only one student appeared for the mains and he got selected. So percent was 100%, right? So it is not a thumb rule, right? Or it is not, you cannot generalize. Like in literature, you will get 100% ratio and all. That will not work. If you go through second, like medical science, around 313 appeared, it is around 10.2%. Then if you go through economics optional, it is around 6.9%. For psychology, it is around 10.9. Then anthropology, it is around 9.7%. Then for public administration, it is around 10.2%, right? For PSIR, it is around 9.4%. Geography, it is around 5.5%. Sociology, it is around 9.6%. And if you see law is good, like 14.1%. So on an average, we will see around 9 to 10% selection ratio, right? But very important thing which is not covered by this particular trend is, this trend is only with respect to final selection. But this trend is not based on the marks candidates got in their optional subject, right? Some might get selected because he got very good marks in essay, he got very good marks in ethics, and his optional marks were very average, like 240 to 260, right? There might be some students who got around 300, 320 in optional, and they got minimal marks in GS or average marks in GS, still they got selected. Again, they are not talking about the rank the students got. Some might get selected in the last, like rank down the 500. Some might get selected in top 10, right? So they will be having good optional marks. So again, this is not the final thing which you will consider while selecting the optional, right? Next point you should think is, again, these 3 points are very important what we will discuss. First is average marks of toppers. So please go through the average marks of toppers, those who are getting selected. So whether it optional mark, average marks are around, like for example 250, 260, 270, right? These are average marks. If some optional is getting 250, right, that is average marks, that means overall, you cannot generalize again here also, but overall it is very difficult to go with 280, 290. If some, like for some optional, if you see toppers are getting 270 on an average marks, that means it is performing very good, right? Don't think about exceptional mark like 300 plus marks. Never think about 300. They are exceptional candidates. Not more than 10, 15 candidates will be having more than 300, right? So always think about average marks of the toppers. Then possibility of getting good marks. This is again very, very important, right? What I am talking about is, like for example, it is 250 is average. So what is the possibility that you will get 290? So always think on that possibility, right? How you can get to know about this possibility? How many are scoring around 290 from 250, right? Almost maximum candidates who are like decent enough in their preparation of optional, they will get average marks. So you can go through some of the mark sheet of those who have written mains and those who got selected, or those who got average marks of selected candidates, for example 290. So how much candidates are there in this bulk of 250, this average marks, and above average, or what we call as a good marks, 290. If you see more people are in this range of 290 or good marks, that means it is quite possible to reach there. right? Then again, very important point from my perspective is efforts required to reach good marks from average marks. Sometimes it is quite possible to go from 250 to 290, but how much efforts you require? Some optional require a lot of efforts to even increase 10 marks, 15 marks. But some optional, if you put adequate efforts, it is very easy to reach that good mark. So always consider these efforts required to reach from average mark to good mark. Because on an average, if someone is reading properly, if he is guided properly, he will definitely get average marks. So don't ever think about average marks, because average marks will never help you in final selection or at least getting good rank. So always think about good marks. So how much efforts are required from average to good marks is a very important criteria, right? Moving ahead to the next part, we'll see standard process to be followed to select your optional or to choose an optional. So what is the procedure? First, glance list of UPSC optional subjects. Go through the gazette notification, go through whatever optional subjects they have mentioned, and by understanding your personality, by understanding your skill set, by understanding your interest, orientation, you will have 4 or 5 optionals in your mind. So sort out 4 to 5 optional out of that, right? Out of the list given by the UPSC. After that, what you can do is go through NCERTs or some basic sources of 4 to 5 optionals. For example, if you have gone through, like you are interested in sociology, geography, public administration, anthropology, and PSIR. So go through the NCERTs, whatever they are available. It is available for geography, it is available for PSIR, that is political science, that is available for sociology also. For anthropology, you can go through state Kerala board books, the basic books. And for other optionals, you can go through some basic readings, basics. Don't touch core part here. I am talking about core part of optional. Core part, I mean theory part, right? For example, in anthropology, don't go with chapter 6, that is theories. In sociology, don't go with theory part. In geography, don't go in perspectives in geography, because this is a like core of that, and it is very kind of technical or very much specific to that optional. So initially it becomes very difficult to judge that particular optional based on that core part. So never go with the core part. Some basic understanding, light reading, what we call as, just to know about this optional particularly. Then sort out 2 to 3 optionals from that. After going through syllabus, after going through basic NCERTs and basic reading, you will have something in your mind like, I am now stuck with 2 optionals, sociology versus anthropology, public administration versus PSIR, right? Geography versus history, right? You will come out to 2 to 3 optionals, right? After going through syllabus and basic reading of NCERTs and all. Then go through syllabus again thoroughly. Now you need to like go through syllabus, you have to understand it, you have to read between the lines of the syllabus, you have to interpret, you have to go through subtopics of that particular syllabus, and after that just go through the previous year questions. For example, if you are going through one particular topic, say for example geography, it is a geomorphology. So just go through the questions that have asked on geomorphology. If you are talking about anthropology, go through the basic topics, basic questions UPSC has asked on that particular topic. So previous year questions, you will get exact idea what is the topic mentioned in the syllabus and what they have asked in UPSC. Last 2-3 years previous year questions are very important, because earlier there were different trend in with respect to difficulty of the question and all. Last 2 to 3 years, you will get exact idea how UPSC is asking question on this particular topic. After that, what you can do is write some questions after basic reading. For example, you go through this particular chapter, you read it, you try to understand it, and write previous year questions on that particular topic. After doing this, search answers of toppers. You will get easily on Google, or you can go through some toppers copies and all, right? Then just go through your answer and go through toppers answer, and then see where you stand, what topper has written and what you have written, what is lacking, and how much efforts are required to reach that. Again, you can see whether I will reach there or not. If I put some efforts, whether it is very easy to write answer like topper, or whether it is very difficult for me to write that kind of answer. You will have your own kind of call of conscience, right? Then you can take expert help. Expert help in the sense, you can reach out some mentors, some veterans, some seniors, and you can discuss the answers you have written, right? Here are like few things you should keep in mind. What if you go to a particular expert in geography, or maybe for example he is a faculty for geography, or someone is faculty for anthropology, someone is faculty for sociology, so they will always convince you to go for that optional. You have to be very careful. They will say you have written this, but if I can tell you confidently, like if you do these things, you will get very good marks, your answer become very effective. There you need to take your own call. Like if they say like your answer is decent, okay, if your answer is average, your answer is below average, so ask them how much effort I will require to reach good answers or effective answer, and judge on yourself also what was expected and what I have written, whether I can reach that effective answer or not, right? So expert help you can think, right? Definitely that will help. And towards end I will tell you few very important thing is, always think on your competency. Your competency in what kind of personality you have, what kind of skill set you have, what kind of skill set is required for this particular optional, what kind of personality is suitable for that particular optional. That you have to judge, and you have to take call on your own, take call of your conscience. We have given a lot of feed based on which you can take your decision, and ultimately you have to take decision on your competency. If you think even very less people are taking this optional, if you feel like I am very much confident that I will be able to write effective answer this particular optional, definitely go with that optional. Like UPSC don't have anything on agenda. Like if more people are going for anthropology, UPSC will kill anthropology. They don't have any kind of agenda. If more people are going for sociology, they will kill sociology. And anyway, a lot of people are writing geography. It doesn't mean like they will kill geography, right? Sometimes statistics and trend will not reveal all the things, right? So you have to take the call on your own. You have to judge your personality, and you have to see how much coherent your personality is with respect to demand of that particular optional, right? Then check coherence with your skills, personality I have just discussed. That's it. You have to follow this procedure. You have to reach out to 2-3, then go for one optional. Take some 10, 15, 20 days to choose optional. But once you choose, please stick to that optional. I have my personal experience. A lot of students will come after 6 months, 3 months. They will attend classes very enthusiastically. When they will start writing answers, then they will realize like I am not very comfortable in writing this particular answers and all. Then they start changing optionals and all. You have invested a lot of time. You have invested a lot of these resources, your money and all. Then it becomes very difficult. So select your optional wisely and rationally, right? All the very best, and thank you very much.